a 33-count indictment against Roof last year, with authorities accusing him of committing hate crimes, weapons charges, and obstructing religion. Lynch said in a statement on Tuesday, following the department's rigorous review process to thoroughly consider all relevant factual and legal issues, I have determined that the Justice Department will seek the death penalty. The nature of the alleged crime and the resulting harm compelled this decision. Prosecutors outlined their reasons for seeking capital punishment in a 7-page court filing on Tuesday, claiming that Roof, an accused white supremacist, demonstrated a lack of remorse for the shootings, specifically targeted the church to magnify the societal impact of the rampage, and used animosity towards African Americans as a central motivation for the attack. The trial is expected to begin next year. The South Carolina state government is also planning to try Roof on murder charges, and it too will seek the death penalty. 9 people were killed in the attack on the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. News of the Justice Department's decision was well received by at least some of the victims' relatives. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports lawmakers in San Francisco voted to uphold the sanctuary city policy on Tuesday, almost a year after San Francisco was flung into a national debate about immigration after an undocumented immigrant was charged in the fatal shooting of a woman. The Board of Supervisors unanimously approved legislation that upholds the city's policy on limiting law enforcement from providing assistance to federal immigration authorities aimed to apprehend or deport individuals. The Free SF Coalition, a collection of immigrants and minority activists and legal aid groups, called the ordinance an important step forward for San Francisco's immigrant communities. San Francisco is one of dozens of U.S. cities with sanctuary policies which were rooted in shielding Central and South American refugees from deportation in the 1980s. A second vote on the city's ordinance is scheduled to be held to affirm the policy next Tuesday. Mayor Ed Lee, who has previously supported the policy, will have 10 days to act on the ordinance if it passes next week. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's now been 7 days since a group of hikers went missing in Maine's Acadia National Park, but rescue crews there are still holding out hope of finding them alive. Autistic reporter Michael Falk is on the scene there. Michael.
Hello, Brooke. My socks got wet. That cameraman gave me new socks. I am fine.
That's good, Michael, but what's the situation there?
The names of the hikers are Casey Allman, Brian Emery, Ashley Thorson. The hikers were last seen 174 hours ago. Since then, 3 very big storms have hit here. There's a 1.24% chance that all of the hikers are alive. Why are you looking for the hikers?
Well, we're still hopeful that we might be able to find them. There's been a break in the weather, so we're hoping that...
Over the past 7 days, the average high temperature has been 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Over the past 7 days, the average low temperature has been 6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right. So we did another sweep of the park from the air, but we didn't see anything.
Without shelter, the human body can withstand temperatures this cold for a maximum of 3 hours. Is there shelter in the forest for the hikers?
Not that we know of.
They are frozen.
Well, we like
Shh. This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome to Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us here. We'll give you our toll-free numbers and the Skype username that allow you to bring up whatever happens to be on your mind with you in the studio tonight. It's Ian.
And Mark.
And you can join us online anytime you want. Just head on over to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we share with you. You get to actually create the content right there on the front page of the website, and sometimes we'll use that content on the air. Now, of course, the best way to get your thoughts on the air is to join us here, and we'll give you those details in a moment. There's an interesting news story which might surprise some people, but I got to say I wasn't surprised by this headline. U.S. military using 8-inch floppy disks to coordinate nuclear force operations. 8-inch floppy disk. And you actually pointed out to me, Mark, that you're not familiar with an 8-inch disk.
Never heard of it, no.
The bigger floppy disk that I remember as a kid was the 5.25-inch disk,
right.
I believe it was.
We used to use them as hall passes from computer class at high school.
So
it was like just a permanent hall pass. If you had the floppy, you're okay.
So I'm not surprised that it turns out that here we are in the year 2016, and the U.S. Defense Department, according to a new report, which CNBC describes as jaw-dropping, is still using 8-inch floppy disks in a computer system that coordinates the operational functions of the nation's nuclear forces.
Where do they get them?
Well, a lot of older stuff like typewriter ribbons and things like that are still manufactured. They're
for the government.
Yes, I mean, governments are customers, but also corporations.
Lots of businesses use dot matrix printers.
Yep, corporations still have old equipment like that too. And so they manufacture these things at a much higher cost than what they cost at the time when they were actually popular, because they're in such small demand now in comparison to the level of demand they had when they were in high supply. When every computer system was using these things, the products were being made and shipped everywhere, and so they were cheaper. But now, because not as many people are looking for these items, they probably cost a pretty penny. It would be very interesting to see what the government is actually paying for one of these old, well, I guess newly manufactured 8-inch floppy disks, unless they're actually using old 8-inch floppy disks from the 1980s and 70s.
They have to be getting worn out, right?
Yes, magnetic material will wear out over time.
Right. I remember cassette tapes, if they got old enough, just began to kind of fall apart.
The U.S. Defense Department is still using, after several decades, the 8-inch floppy disks in a computer system, again, that coordinates nuclear weapons. The Defense Department's 1970s-era IBM Series 1 computer. It's the Series 1, the first one. And long outdated floppy disks handle functions related to intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear bombers, and tanker support aircraft, according to the new Government Accountability Office report. As far as government agencies go, the Government Accountability Office is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like the GOA myself.
GAO.
GAO? Yeah, I get it confused. Not enough to remember their acronym, by the way.
The department's outdated Strategic Automated Command and Control System is one of the 10 oldest information technology investments or systems detailed in the sobering GAO report, which calls for a number of federal agencies to, quote, address aging legacy systems, unquote. So this is just one. There are several other systems within the federal government.
Do you remember that one that's like a missile tunnel down beneath some mountain someplace where they can't even they don't even have computers. They just use file cards? I'll have to go find that one.
Yes. So, before I go on with the story here, I think what's interesting to point out is that people have a fantasy of what they believe the government is like. If you watch the movies, then you think the government has these fancy computer systems, and if somebody launches an intercontinental ballistic missile at us, that the government's going to be able to detect it and then lock in missiles to shoot it down from the sky, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure. Everybody thinks that the government's there to protect them, but the reality is this is a system from basically the 1970s. You really think this old system that runs on 8-inch floppy disks that has been chugging along for 40-something years is really going to be, on it when it comes to some sort of ballistic missile launch against the United States?
So you're saying the same technology that I used when I went to the Titan missile silo and was at Tempe, Arizona in January, where I turned the key with the other guy to launch the imaginary missile on some poor unsuspecting Russian village, that's the same technology that we're talking about today?
It's probably not that different. So the report shows that creaky IT systems are being used to handle important functions related to the nation's taxpayers, federal prisoners, and military veterans, as well as to the U.S. nuclear umbrella. Quote, federal legacy IT systems are becoming increasingly obsolete. Many use outdated software languages and hardware parts that are unsupported. Because when you have software that was written in 1970.
Who's going to write it? I suppose somebody. Basic's not that difficult, right?
Well, I don't know what the language was that they used, Mark, but whatever it is not being in use today. So it's not being taught. If you go to school, they're not. They're teaching you the language of JavaScript, PHP, HTML. They're teaching you, current programming languages that are relevant, C++, if they still use that. But they're probably not teaching whatever old COBOL system or whatever the heck this thing is.
You think they were using COBOL in the 70s?
Punch cards. I don't know. I don't know.
Seriously, they were teaching COBOL to my friend who was in New College in Sarasota in 1987. That's
that's too new.
Yeah, way too new.
So
just basic is the only thing I can think of they could have possibly been using, or some kind of technology I've never heard of before.
When you have a company and you hire a programmer to accomplish some sort of task, and they come up with a program for whatever it is, database or operations or whatever you're doing, then it obviously helps to have that same programmer be on call to be able to come in and fix a bug if one crops up, or upgrade the system if you need to add new features to it. But if that programmer dies, because it's been 40 years since you hired him or whatever, then it can be difficult to bring another programmer in, a fresh set of eyes who's never seen the code before. They didn't write it.
Yeah.
So they then have to go through all this other programmer's code. That guy just died of a heart attack. You bring somebody else
40 years worth of legacy code written in
a program,
God knows what language.
In a programming language that probably only people in their 60s and 70s know how to program in. So how do you continue to maintain a system like this?
I would think that you could bring on an apprentice. Like, that's what I would do in this circumstances, is that, I've got a government job. I'm going to be retiring in 5 years. We should get somebody in here who knows what they're,
and maybe that's how they are handling it.
That would be the way to do it.
Because it's not like the government, well, for them, money is no issue. For regular companies.
Yes, but getting somebody hired is a huge issue.
Yeah. The report shows these IT systems, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Federal IT systems are increasingly obsolete. Agencies reported using several systems that have components that are, in some cases, at least 50 years old.
Sure they are.
Defense has plans to upgrade its nuclear-related...
What component could last 50 years?
I don't know. Vacuum tubes? I have no idea.
Not vacuum tubes. Come on. You know as well as I do that wouldn't work. The steel face on the box. That's it. It's the only thing that can last 50 years.
Defense has plans. They're working on plans to upgrade their nuclear-related technology system soon, according to the department's spokesbureaucrat.
Remember, Americans, this is your defense network. Yeah. This is the thing you say that you need the government for, ultimately. Yeah. The one purpose, the ultimate and final purpose, is to defend you from the evil marauders that come from abroad.
False.
They're running a system that is 40 years old.
The only thing they're defending is themselves, Mark.
Poorly.
It's a lie that they are there to defend you. That is part of the lie that they tell you to get you to believe in them and get you to believe that they're actually there to protect you. But the reality is the government's priority is the government, protecting military facilities, protecting government facilities. And if they need to crush your house in order to get in, to some place that is more important to them to protect it, they will absolutely do that. You are not a priority. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. More about these decrepit, ancient, old technology systems that the U.S. government is using. Coming up.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us toll-free here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Our Daryl W. Perry is down in Florida, heading down for the convention, the Libertarian Party National Convention. I did ask him to, if he gets a free moment to breathe, to give us a call and update us on the convention goings on. Of course, I imagine he's going to be being pulled every which way because he's running for president, looking for the nomination of the Libertarian Party. So we'll keep you in the loop as we learn more about what's happening down there in Orlando at the LNC, the Libertarian National Convention. Bernie Sanders, speaking of presidential politics, has come to represent the new socialist movement in America, and that means that we now have an incredible opportunity to address his supporters in a rational, courteous, and dignified way. Roger Ver is on the side of freedom, thankfully, and he's laid out an incredible challenge that involves Adam Kokesh agreeing to meet Bernie Sanders in any city in America on any day between now and the end of the year for a friendly debate on socialism versus voluntarism, in which Bernie gets to choose the objective moderator. To sweeten the deal, Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus, has offered that upon completion of a 3-hour debate in which both men have equal time, that Roger will donate a total of $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of each man's choice, which is $50,000 apiece. Learn more at bernie.freetalklive.com. That's bernie.freetalklive.com. We're sharing a pretty laughable story about the U.S. military, the Defense Department, using 8-inch floppy disks in a computer system that is about 40 or 50 years old. The 1970s era IBM Series 1 computer is being utilized in the supposed protection of the United States in a nuclear weapons umbrella, as it was described here. Let's go to Ron, listening in Virginia. We'll tell you more about the story here in moments. Ron, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Well, I got to say on this story, I think you're a day premature on telling it.
How's that?
Because I think it would be better to tell this story with Conan around because, okay, you got to update these systems. So they're going to put the new fancy hardware and the new AI systems into this hardware that can do predictive analysis. And thus that will lead to Conan's favorite diversionary topic, Skynet.
Oh, it's Conan believe that Skynet is becoming real?
Yeah, exactly. He would totally eat this up as Skynet.
Well, they are going to have to do a lot of upgrading before this system could ever consider being close to Skynet. And it's
if they trash all the old stuff and they put in brand new stuff, then that's what leads to Skynet.
It seems like that's what they're going to have to do, and I suppose it's possible. Some contractor, comes in and he puts in some AI defense network, and then wham, Skynet.
And then we got Whopper.
There you go.
So, Ron, do you have any other thoughts on this issue of the U.S.?
No, I just thought Conan would have beaten this story up. That's all.
Well, you can always call in tomorrow and ask him what he thinks about it. Thanks for the call tonight, Ron. I appreciate it. Toll-free numbers. You're going to be heading up the show tomorrow night, Mark, actually, filling in for Daryl.
Oh, am I? All by myself? All right.
No, not by yourself. You'll have Conan and Chris Reitman with you.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can join us here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The Defense Department claims they have plans to upgrade their nuclear-related technology systems soon. Lieutenant Colonel Valerie Henderson, the department spokesbureaucrat, said, quote, "This system remains in use because, in short, it still works. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it." However, to address obsolescence concerns, the floppy drives are scheduled to be replaced with secure digital devices by the end of 2017.
By the end of 2017.
Now, that statement makes it sound like the military's intention is to only replace the floppy drives. Oh, yes, we're going to leave.
Yes, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Right, we're going to leave the defense's 1970s era IBM Series 1 computer in place. We're going to keep this 40-year-old machine running, and we're going to somehow figure out a way to interface a secure digital, an SD card drive. We're going to figure out some mechanism to allow this old computer system to somehow interface with a brand new method for storing files. Now, I'm not a programmer, but I did take a little bit of programming in high school. And I suspect that in order to get, this isn't going to be something where you just unplug the floppy drive and then
could it be?
Hop on in the SD card drive. No. This is going to require some kind of new coding to go on within this system that they have. Somebody's going to have to go in there and update this decades-old system to be able to even interface with an SD card drive. Come on.
Right, absolutely.
That's going to cost a lot of money.
This system can't handle the computing power that it takes to just update the firmware from the SD card. Yep. It's not capable of that. I mean, if you think the amount, if you think about the amount of storage that was on a 5 1/4-inch floppy disk, and
that was about a megabyte, about 1.
You think it was that much?
I know the 3.5s were 1.44 meg. And
Yep, they were 1.44. I remember that now. It was a gross, basically.
Well, I think floppies had grown in their size over time.
Yeah, so you're just you're rounding up to a meg. It seems nice and fair for you to do. I guess I was thinking of the computers I worked on in the computer lab, and you're talking about PC Juniors of, I think it was 126 kilobytes RAM, something like that, and it's hard to. Those things were running on 5 1/4-inch floppies. This computer system simply could not handle some kind of thumb drive system.
The 8-inch floppy disk was the first one. The first floppy disk was 8 inches in diameter, was protected by a flexible plastic jacket. This is for all you kids out there who've never seen a floppy disk.
You could go to Google and type in 8-inch floppy, and it would come up with a picture for you.
It was protected by a flexible plastic jacket and was a read-only device.
It looks just like a 5 1/4, only bigger.
Used by IBM as a way of loading microcode.
Don't look this up, kids. Just if you know what a 5 1/4 inch floppy is like, which I guess you're not a kid if you know that. It's just bigger than that.
So apparently the family of 8-inch disks and drives increased over time, and later versions could store up to 1.2 megabytes.
You know what I love seeing here? When I look this up, it's the pictures of all the sort of 10 or 15-year-old pictures of people showing the difference between a CD and a 8.5-inch floppy drive. Yep. Look at this. Mm-hmm. This is so much better. Yeah,
the CD was so much better.
But it's old technology now.
CD could store 700 megabytes of data compared to... So basically, you could fit 700 floppy disks on one CD. Anyway, I color me skeptical that the U.S. military is easily going to be able to adapt SD card technology to a 40-year-old computer system. And if you are a programmer out there or a hardware expert and you'd like to add some expertise into this conversation, would love to hear from you on this, because I don't know how much money that's going to take, but they probably are going to need all the way to the end of 2017 to get something like that working, if not longer.
I wonder what 3M and Verbatim are doing now.
The toll-free number 3M still continues to manufacture.
Make tape, right?
A variety of different things. 3M makes a bunch of stuff. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Verbatim still manufactures discs and things like that, CD-ROMs, DVDs. This is Free Talk Live. More coming up.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is down $5 at $1,222 per ounce. Silver is 11 cents higher at $16.38 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $448 US. Yesterday's big drop in metals, prompted by dollar strength against other currencies, has created a great buying opportunity. To find out more, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Ginger in Florida, you're on Free Talk Live.
I just thought I'd call and give y'all some news. We found out on a...
Wait, I thought your name was Paula. Are you trying to hide your identity, Paula? Are you trying to protect yourself from the NSA and the New World Order? I thought your name was Paula.
No, anyway...
Your name's Ginger?
Yeah.
Why has it been Paula every other time you've called?
I guess she does call, too. But anyway,
Do you have a twin
I just want to give you some information. We just heard on another program that, well, actually the whole world is going into a world collapse. They said we have till the 1st of June.
So what I want to know, Ginger, is do you know who Paula is?
What? I'm trying to give you some information.
You've given me the information. You said the world's going to collapse in less than a week.
I'm going to start drinking now, and I'm not coming out of it until after July's over.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, since we're talking about the military, in this case, their decrepit old computer system that is supposedly some sort of nuclear weapons protection system, still using 8-inch floppy disks. That's right, a floppy disk format so old that I don't even remember it. I remember the 5 1/4-inch discs.
I had to look up a picture.
Yeah, from when I was a kid. The 8-inch disc looks just like the 5 1/4-inch disc and stores a similar amount of storage space, but it's just bigger, and they're still using those. Now, the military's claiming they're going to be phasing those out, and by the end of 2017, they'll be replacing those floppy disk drives with secure digital devices. But I got to wonder how exactly they're going to accomplish that, given that they're not talking about replacing the old 1970s system, the Defense Department's 1970s era IBM Series 1 computer. So are they going to keep the Series 1 computer chugging along and just hook up some SD drives to it? What's the point? The toll-free number tonight's 855-450-FREE, and you can join us also via Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Coming up, Mark, you're going to tell us about Chris Kyle. Now, this guy is, I guess, well-known. There was a movie made about him, some sort of sniper movie.
Yeah, American Sniper, yep.
And I guess turns out maybe he wasn't totally honest about his military history.
It's beginning to look that way.
You've got that story. We'll get into it here, and we'll take your calls and thoughts about whatever's on your mind. Again, toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. So are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. And by using their money, you're helping the state. So stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, and spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. As we go to the phones and to the fun, we got Sarah listening in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to say, I ride the bus every day, and there's always at least 1 to 3 smokers there blowing smoke. And,
there are people smoking on the bus in Albuquerque?
No, at the bus stop.
Okay. Okay.
But they feel like it's actually against the city ordinance. We passed the ordinance that is the city property and you are not allowed to smoke. But the thing is, if I was to confront them or to be asked politely to, put the smoke out or something, more than likely I'll get stopped or get assaulted, or they might pull out a knife because this is the wild, wild west. So
well, things sound really nice there on the bus in Albuquerque.
Well, the bus stops. Inside the bus, they have like...
Are you saying that people wait at the bus stop that aren't getting on the bus?
No, they are waiting for the bus. They have nothing to do, so they just get a nicotine fix and they sit right in the bus stop. And you know, I somebody like me and the people with oxygen, you know, old people, we have to stand 20 feet away. We have to stand up.
Yeah.
And the people that smoke, they sit there and they blow smoke everywhere, and we can't say nothing.
Do they have no smoking signs at the bus stop?
No, there are no signs put up.
Then there's probably not an ordinance.
Oh, no, there is an ordinance. We passed it. It's written in the code. But
have you actually looked at the code?
I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to how you're supposed to enforce some rule
where there's no notice.
Right? Nobody reads this code. So
not even the city workers read the damn code.
If they didn't put up signs to say no smoking in a given geographic area, then it would be unreasonable to expect somebody to know better. Now, I will agree with you that it is etiquette that somebody should get up and let a person on oxygen sit down. Right. But if you're smoking and there's a person with oxygen around, you probably should smoke 20 or 30 feet away. But, you know, I don't know what to tell you. The fact is that that's the difficulty, is you really can't enforce etiquette and people don't precisely know what it is.
Well, you know what? I've asked somebody nicely about that. You know what he told me? Because he said, I was here first. You go walk to the next bus stop. This is the attitude. This is the attitude with the smokers. Like, they're entitled.
Hold on, Sarah. You're suggesting that there is an attitude for smokers, and that is bigoted and collectivist. Okay?
She is a collectivist.
Look, I've got to go out. I'm a volunteer firefighter, and I've got to go out and fight fires, and did for several of them last month that are started by people throwing butts out of their window. But at the very least, I understand that those fires were caused by people who were irresponsible with their cigarette butts, not smokers. So you can't collectivize the smokers, because smokers are a bunch of different people. That's like saying people like Sarah are pushy and want to make laws to restrict everybody's behavior, which is patently ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't. But generality, a lot of the smokers, like, I want to sit here and blow smoke environment. Nobody can tell me anything, you know. And then the elderly with the oxygen, we dare not to say anything because we'll get assaulted. You know what I'm talking about?
You're not actually an elderly person with oxygen, right?
No, I am not.
No.
But, you know, I missed a lot of buses standing 20 feet away.
How did you miss a bus standing 20 feet away?
Well,
was your foot caught in like a grate or something?
They were just loitering and smoking, so I had to stand far away.
Yes, but how'd you miss the bus?
What'd you say?
She won't get near the smokers.
How did you miss the bus if you were 20 or 30 feet away?
Well, what happened was I thought they were going to catch the bus. They were just loitering and smoking. And then they just told them, well, I don't want the bus. So by the time I walked up, the bus was gone.
Well, that's your fault. When the bus comes up and opens the door, you begin moving your legs towards it, okay?
You know, I remember riding the bus in Sarasota, Florida when I was younger. I rode it a lot of places before I could drive. And whether there were smokers around or not, frequently there was some sort of smoke billowing from the back of the bus or some sort of other unpleasant smell. So generally, in order to board a city bus, you kind of have to be willing to deal with some unpleasant scents or aromas of chemicals or smoke or something like that. And it's just sort of part and parcel of the whole process. And so, I mean, I understand that you don't like smoking and that you feel like, you know, you should be not having to encounter it in your daily life. But the reality is people smoke, and it's legal for them to do so most places outside. And if you don't like it, I'm sure there's some sort of breathing apparatus you can that you could purchase.
Yeah, you need a smoke filter.
But then again, that would require you to actually have some sort of income. And what we learned from you earlier this week is that you are on disability and you don't actually work.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if anybody understands the entitlement mentality, it must be you, Sarah.
Oh,
right?
Please.
You've called this show complaining about the place that you live. You complain because you can't find a non-smoking, what was it, Section 8, was it, that you take?
Yeah, Section 8 vouchers.
Right,
yeah.
So somebody else is paying for your home, but yet you're still so entitled and angry that it's not the perfect home for you, but yet you don't actually have to put any effort into maintaining it. You just live there.
What are you talking about? You know what? They make me clean my house for my inspection. They make me bring like 6 paperwork.
Oh, so you actually have to clean your own home. Well, that's good to know. So you have a little bit of responsibility in your life. What I meant by responsibility is that
my Section 8.
That,
what are you talking about, this handout thing? That's all Rush Limbaugh propaganda.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a handout. You are completely capable of working. You are physically able to move around. You claim you have bipolar disorder, but I'm sorry, there are plenty of people who have bipolar that can hold down a job. So, it's one entitlement mentality versus another entitlement mentality as far as I'm concerned. Good luck at the bus stop. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
You're harsh, dude.
855-450-3733. She's a leech. What do you want me to do? Candy coat that? Oh, Sarah, could you just please go get a job? We know that you're capable of working. She doesn't believe she's been told she's got this disease or whatever, and whether that was what made her believe it or just because she wanted to believe it on her own.
She certainly calls the show like it's a job. I'll give you that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look,
she's on time, too.
I don't feel sorry for somebody who's physically capable and could absolutely hold down a job. There are people with mental retardation that can hold down jobs. You got bipolar? Okay, there's jobs for you out there in the world. It's Free Talk Live.
Going back to my victim saying, you cost me a lot of misery, and all total, $2,700 in doggy fees, and all it took was 1 container of Dynamite, 2 pounds, 3 ounces, and my dog has been cured. Abby's a 5-year-old Silky Terrier. She had, chicken pox on her belly, clusters of bumps on her back, and she was allergic to, 70-some-odd things. So the dermatologist, it was, oh, yeah, just keep giving her needles every 10 days. But she's not clearing up. And then it came up on my radio, Dynamite. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
And I was like, oh, that's it. I gave her the Dynamite after 5 weeks. And one morning, there was nothing there. And I'm like, oh, my God, she's all clear. There wasn't one blemish on her body. Her fur is beautiful. She is totally happy. She is a healthy, bump-free, pimple-free, shiny, silky. It turned our lives around. So thank you very much for Dynamite. I couldn't be happier. Dynamite's the bomb.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA-certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you to go this way? You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 641-552-5046. That's 641-552-5046.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Dial toll-free here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us on the radio waves. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
So we were talking about the U.S. military and its old technology that they're still using since the 1970s. They claim they're going to be upgrading their systems over the next couple of years with secure digital devices instead of old 8-inch floppy drives. And we're going to continue that story. Of course, you're welcome to join us here at 855-450-FREE or join us online anytime at freetalklive.com. We got archives galore there. In fact, we started something new just today, actually, which is pretty cool. One of our listeners, Riley Blake, has stepped up, and he is actually editing daily digests of the show. So we do a 3-hour-long radio show. After you cut out the commercials and the news breaks, it gets down to about a 2-hour-long podcast. So just a straight 2 hours of content from the 3-hour radio show.
Right.
But that's still a lot of content for the average person. If you only drive 15 minutes to work and 15 minutes back, and that's the only time you have to listen to stuff, you're not going to hear a whole episode of Free Talk Live in that amount of time. So Riley has stepped up to start doing daily digests. He's doing this on his own volition. Hopefully it will continue on for as long as he feels like doing it. Obviously, he's looking to see if people appreciate it, and I think a lot of people will appreciate this because there are a number of time-challenged listeners within our sort of podcast realm who would like to have a shorter version of Free Talk Live. So as of today, we've uploaded the last 3 days' worth of the show in Daily Digest format. It'll appear in our podcast. It'll appear on our SoundCloud feed. So if you already subscribe to the Free Talk Live podcast, then you're automatically going to receive these episodes. If you don't want to listen to them, you want to listen to the full show, then don't listen to them.
How does one subscribe to the Free Talk Live podcast?
You can go to freetalklive.com, and there should be a pretty easy way to do that there. I'd have to actually be there, Mark, to look at that to give you the exact instructions. But freetalklive.com, as far as subscribing to the podcast goes, I think if you go to listening options and then scroll down to iTunes RSS feeds, that's where you can find the podcast. So our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Maybe that should say podcast rather than RSS because, I don't know, people are easily confused by things like this.
Yeah, I guess it probably should. I think RSS is old terminology, right?
Well, I don't know. They're both kind of old terms. Podcast is an old term, too.
What do you think the people call it now?
Decade. Podcast has been around for a decade.
Yes, but people use it.
Yes, they do.
I don't hear people saying, I need to get it hooked up to your RSS feed.
Well, I still say that, but if you're a tech person, then it would make sense. So, technology people, you're welcome to comment on the U.S. military and their old systems going back into the 1970s. According to a GAO audit, there are actually at least 10 of these decrepit old technology systems that are in use today within the federal government. Of course, that doesn't even scratch the surface of state governments and what old tech they might be using. Other agencies are moving toward a more modern system, slowly at best. More than 75% of $80 billion budgeted for federal IT efforts across all agencies in fiscal 2015 was spent on operations and maintenance investment, such spending has increased in the past 7 years. In contrast, spending on development, modernization, and enhancement of federal IT systems has declined, according to the GAO. The office noted the government plans to require agencies to identify which IT systems need to be updated and then modify them. But until then, the GAO warned that the government runs the risk of maintaining systems that have outlived their effectiveness.
I guess what stuns me about this is that they're running this system that controls the nuclear missiles or something, or is it defense against nuclear missiles?
It's functions related to intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear bombers, and tanker support aircraft.
Okay, so those things are, intercontinental ballistic missiles are the big missiles that bring the nuclear weapon over to the bad guys. And the obviously bombers are airplanes or whatever, and the tankers are the airplanes that fuel the airplanes that drop the bombs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about a missile defense situation here. I guess I'm surprised that they weren't updating this software all along, that they're using 1970s equipment. Because this is hardware, right? An 8-inch floppy is hardware. They're using 1970s hardware, which means that they must be using 1970s software, because 1970s hardware simply cannot handle 1970s software.
You mean newer software? It can't handle newer software.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the newer software, right. Because if
that's correct.
Because just try for a second to take an old computer that's 15 years old that you got lying around somewhere and upload Windows 10 on
Not going to happen.
And see how things go.
Yeah, that's impossible.
You'll get the same problem that they have there, except that the nuclear missiles are shut down. I mean, who's this moron in the Secret Service agency that's carrying around these codes so that the president can set off nuclear weapons, and it's all being carried on 40-year-old equipment?
Let's talk to Paul. He's
what a waste of your life.
Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Paul.
Hello, guys. Hey. First off, does that mean my mom's HP Pavilion is doing more work?
It is.
Yeah, any old computer that's still cranking along on somebody's desk is probably more powerful.
The cathode ray tube?
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'd never seen an 8. I remember the 5.5s. Unfortunately, I'm that old. But I remember the 5.5s and then the little disc that we shoved in, and then we went to the CDs and stuff like that. But so my mom's HP Pavilion could run the country.
You got it, Paul.
The whole system.
The whole thing. Anyway, back to my dad has this is for your buddy in New Mexico. You got to tell her. My dad calls it Aderville down here in Needles, California. Unfortunately, but Aderville. That's the Section 8ers.
Oh.
Aderville. And yeah, she needs to have a little more humble on that, I think. And I love you guys, and I hope everything works out for you on everything else.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
I kick in too, brother. Okay?
Thanks, man. Appreciate the call tonight.
I love you guys too.
Toll-free number here, 855-450, free Aderville for Section 8 recipients. I'd be interested in seeing how many of them could actually hold down a job and just choose not to because they're getting paid.
I don't know Sarah's specific situation. I wasn't here the night that she talked about it with you, but I guess I don't have a particular problem with people using social welfare programs as a as a leg up, as an opportunity to get back sort of in the system. But
everybody needs help sometime in their life.
And there are people, certainly there are people that simply cannot work.
No doubt.
And that we need to have a way to care for those people. One thing I think that bears mentioning, though, is if you look at countries that are poor, destitute countries, you'll find a much lower incidence of reported mental illness. And I think the reason, this is a speculation, right? I suspect the reason is not that people don't have the same level of mental illness, or perhaps even more in countries where, I don't know, healthcare isn't that great and food isn't that prevalent, but that they have to operate, that they're operable, that those people can get some things done. Now, again, I don't know specifically what's going on with Sarah. I think that you sounded harsh with her, but then again, you're the one who talked to her. I wasn't.
Well, Sarah calls the show every single night. She's our most
it's her job.
She's our most chronic caller. She's constantly complaining about things. And we learned this week that she's actually, in point of fact, on Section 8 housing. She's getting a disability welfare check, all because she supposedly has bipolar disorder. And yet she's complaining about the things that she's getting for free. And so just seems pretty ungrateful to me.
Agreed.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And, I understand people have mental problems. Everybody's got their issues, but most people are still able to hold down a job and, get out there into the working world and actually contribute to society rather than leeching off of it. So you can share your thoughts with us here tonight and bring up whatever you want. The IRS technical officer, Terrence Milholland, says, quote, "Our ultimate goal is to retire all of them," meaning the old technology systems that are still in use at the IRS, "as quickly as possible." They say they have a number of older IT systems, but it is, quote, "not our preference to do so," unquote. Now, how long, of course, it will take them to retire all of those old systems is a good question. We know that as of about a decade ago, the FBI was still reported to having not figured out how to use email. And
I remember reporting on that story over and over. Free Talk Live has been on the air for 14 years or something like that. And it was less than 10 years ago that they got email.
I think they've gotten it since that time. Since we reported on it. But nonetheless, the GAO pointed out that aging systems, which include the Treasury Department's individual master file, which is the authoritative data source for individual taxpayers. So there's, again, an old system in place there. We'll tell you more about it here in moments, and you can join us in hour number 2. Coming up, plus we'll look into Chris Kyle's military history.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Could you use up to $35,000? Whether it's for home improvement, car repairs, paying off taxes, debt consolidation, emergency funds, or any other reason, LoanUS.com can match you with a lender that can offer up to $35,000. Quick, convenient, and completely online. LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. You can get up to $35,000 as soon as the next day. Visit LoanUS.com now.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders, but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $451. Antiwar.com reports the Minsk peace accords, which were supposed to lead to a resolution of the East Ukraine civil war, have not made much progress in recent months, but Russian and Ukrainian officials on Tuesday pledged to intensify cooperation in talks brokered by Germany and France. The deal was to grant increased autonomy to the eastern oblast of Donetsk and Luhansk, and that those oblasts would end their rebellion. Little progress has been made to that end, with intermittent fighting on the frontier. Ukrainian Ukrainian officials have complained the Russian-backed rebels have not followed through on ending their rebellion, while the rebels know that the Ukrainian central government did not deliver the autonomy and blocked them from holding elections. German officials say that Tuesday's talks centered on the possibility of holding those elections, though beyond the general pledge to increase cooperation, it is not clear what, if anything, this means for the possibility of having those elections anytime soon. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the man who authorities say launched a racially motivated attack on a historically black South Carolina church a year ago, killing 9, faces 2 upcoming criminal trials, both of which are now seeking to put suspect Dylan S. Roof to death. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch said Tuesday that after great consideration, her Justice Department will seek the death penalty during its federal prosecution of Roof. A federal grand jury returned a 33-count indictment against Roof last year, with authorities accusing him of committing hate crimes, weapons charges, and obstructing religion. Lynch said in a statement on Tuesday, following the department's rigorous review process to thoroughly consider all relevant factual and legal issues, I have determined that the Justice Department will seek the death penalty. The nature of the alleged crime and the resulting harm compelled this decision. Prosecutors outlined their reasons for seeking capital punishment in a 7-page court filing on Tuesday, claiming that Roof, an accused white supremacist, demonstrated a lack of remorse for the shootings, specifically targeted the church to magnify the societal impact of the rampage, and used animosity towards African Americans as a central motivation for the attack. The trial is expected to begin next year. The South Carolina state government is also planning to try Roof on murder charges, and it too will seek the death penalty. 9 people were killed in the attack on the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. News of the Justice Department's decision was well received by at least some of the victims' relatives. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports lawmakers in San Francisco voted to uphold the sanctuary city policy on Tuesday, almost a year after San Francisco was flung into a national debate about immigration after an undocumented immigrant was charged in the fatal shooting of a woman. The Board of Supervisors unanimously approved legislation that upholds the city's policy on limiting law enforcement from providing assistance to federal immigration authorities aimed to apprehend or deport individuals. The Free SF Coalition, a collection of immigrants and minority activists and legal aid groups, called the ordinance an important step forward for San Francisco's immigrant communities. San Francisco is one of dozens of U.S. cities with sanctuary policies which were rooted in shielding Central and South American refugees from deportation in the 1980s. A second vote on the city's ordinance is scheduled to be held to affirm the policy next Tuesday. Mayor Ed Lee, who has previously supported the policy, will have 10 days to act on the ordinance if it passes next week. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Researchers at the University of Washington report that they have successfully trained 7-year-old chimpanzee Makoko to do all of the tasks necessary to conduct a 3-year study on primates. According to the scientists, Makoko has efficiently learned to turn in thorough analyses of behavior in chimpanzees, fill out all of the necessary paperwork to ensure compliance with the Animal Welfare Act, and even apply for supplemental grant funding from the National Institutes of Health. Sources within your office reported today that the guy on the 3rd floor with 2 computer screens on his desk is not around. Co-workers said that the man, currently working with at least 3 programs open on each screen, was absolutely tearing it up, with sources adding that watching the man run a group video chat while dragging 2 separate Google documents to his second screen was like something out of Minority Report or something.
Jesus, he's just dragging things from one screen to the other like it's nothing. He's going balls to the wall over there. Christ, man, I don't think he's blinked in
3 minutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio waves. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
We've got Skype as well. Skype username LRN.FM. Coming up, Mark, you'll be telling us about Chris Kyle. He's a American sniper. Didn't he die or something like that?
Yes, he was killed by a veteran.
So apparently, maybe he wasn't so honest about his military records.
Maybe.
Some are saying. We'll look into that here in moments. But we've been talking about the just decrepit old technology, ancient at this point. In the scale of technology, 1970s is ancient. This is old technology. The U.S. military, and not just the military, the IRS and other federal government agencies are utilizing. A new Government Accountability Office report has identified 10 of the oldest information technology investments. And the report is called Sobering and Jaw-Dropping in how ridiculous some of this old tech is. Military nuclear weapons systems are operating off of an old 1970s IBM Series 1 computer, which has 8-inch floppy drives.
I think that says it all. 8-inch floppy drives.
Yeah.
That's all we have to say about your nuclear deterrent that the United States government is so known for. 8-inch floppy drives.
The GAO pointed out, the story from CNBC.com, that aging systems include the Treasury Department's individual master file, which is the authoritative data source for individual taxpayers. It's used to assess taxes and generates refunds.
Well, thank God.
That file is, quote, written in assembly language code.
Assembly language. Now we know.
A low-level computer code that is difficult to write and maintain and operates on an IBM mainframe computer.
This is like the things that fill up a room and need special air conditioning and like whirring tapes and stuff.
Treasury's master business file, which contains all tax data on individual business income taxpayers, likewise is written in that same assembly language code, which was first used in the 1950s and maintained on the old-school IBM mainframe.
So I feel like I should have known that this wasn't written in BASIC and that it was written in assembly language. I feel like that's a piece of knowledge I should have had as a talk show host.
While the Treasury does have general plans to replace the systems, quote, there is no firm data associated with the transition, unquote, which means they don't have any time frame.
Yeah, they're just talking about it.
Yep.
At this point, the GAO has begun to shame the rest of the government. They do that sometimes, and thank goodness they do.
So give them another 50 years. Maybe they'll get it figured out.
50. That's hyperbolic. Ian, let's go ahead and say 20.
In addition to Defense, the Departments of Treasury, Commerce, Health and Human Services, and Veterans Affairs reported using 1980s and 1990s Microsoft operating systems that stopped being supported by the vendor more than a decade ago. And the Social Security Administration, quote, reported rehiring retired employees to maintain its systems which use COBOL, the computer language which was widely used in the 1970s, according to GAO.
COBOL is from the 70s. Well, my mistake, Ian. I'm terribly sorry.
COBOL.
Maybe it was C++ I was thinking of.
It's also used by the
That's
Justice...
kind of COBOL, right?
I don't know, dude.
Okay, I'm sorry.
COBOL is also used by the Justice Department in its program to provide information about prison inmates, as well as the VA, which claims, which uses it for employee timekeeping and to track veterans' benefits claims and dates of death, says the report. So, once you get out of the 1970s, you still find that a bunch of these old systems are from the 1980s as well, and they're just using old technology all over the federal government. So when you see in the movies those government agents sitting in front of fancy technology, just remember
it's just the movies.
That's just the Hollywood version of government, where they can actually find criminals and.
Well, I've talked to police officers that just laugh at the CIS thing, where they go into some room with some fancy computer, tick, 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 and they find out all the answers. They're like, we don't have anything like that.
No.
We got nothing like that. We take a suspect in a room and we grill him.
The old-fashioned way. So let's continue here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We go to the phones. In fact, in this case, Skype, where Michael is on the line. Hello, Michael. Michael on Skype. Going once. Sounds like he's in a missile launch silo right there.
It does.
Thanks. We'll check back.
Thank you for your service, Michael.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Ian and Mark here in the studio with you tonight. So since we were talking about the military and its old missile systems, let's talk about a more recent story. Chris Kyle has made headlines in the past for being some sort of sniper in the military. Yep. There was a movie made about him. I haven't seen it. I think you said you saw the movie.
I did go
right?
see it, and I felt like the movie was fair and not particularly propagandistic. I think it was well done in the sense that that whomever saw it would probably get what they wanted to get out of it. So I could see somebody who's hoorah, very patriotic or whatever, getting that from the story, and I could see somebody who was anti-war getting that from the story. I felt that who's Dirty Harry? What's his name?
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood did a fantastic job in directing it, and I have no particular things to say about the movie. I'm sure that you can find somebody on the internet who will. However, I think that it's fair to say that Chris Kyle has, kind of been held up as this Captain America, if you will. Not to say that he's anything like the character Captain America, but I think a lot of people sort of relate to him in that way. And, when you put your treasures on earth, as the Bible says, when you put your faith in man will always let you down. I think that's why principles are more important. So I think that this may be an instance where Chris Kyle has let people down.
Okay.
Specifically military folks, because, let me read it to you.
Yeah, where's the story coming from?
This is from The Intercept.
Oh, boy.
No American has been more associated with the Navy SEAL mystique than Chris Kyle. Known as the deadliest sniper in U.S. military history, his best-selling autobiography, American Sniper, a story of honor, glory, and quiet heroism. His autobiography,
meaning he
quiet heroism.
That's what he wrote.
Yes.
Okay.
A person wrote their story and said about that story, a story of honor, glory, and quiet heroism. Does that sound like quiet heroism to you?
No, it sounds like someone looking for recognition.
Yeah, the self-aggrandizement. As sold more than 1 million copies, the movie, which is a huge undertaking when it comes to books. You sell 1 million copies, you've done something incredible. The movie adaptation became the highest-grossing war film in American history. Does that mean that it beat out Saving Private Ryan? Seems crazy. All told, Kyle wrote in his book, I would end my career as a SEAL with 2 silver stars and 5 bronze stars, all for valor.
How humble.
Mm-hmm. But Kyle, who was murdered by a fellow military veteran several years after leaving the Navy, embellished his military record, according to internal Navy documents obtained by The Intercept. During his 10 years of military service and 4 deployments, Kyle earned 1 silver star and 3 bronze stars for valor, a record confirmed by Navy officials. I really got to kind of wonder why somebody who earned 1 silver star and 3 bronze stars. Now, this isn't particularly meaningful to us civilians, but when you're talking to people who are in the military and you say somebody won a silver star and 3 bronze stars, you're talking about an incredible achievement if you consider getting medals achievements. It's why one would need to upgrade the amount of silver stars and bronze stars that one got by 1 and 2 respectively just doesn't make any particular sense to me, unless he was sort of caught up in the whole thing. I don't know. I find it very odd. So going on. Kyle was warned at least once before American Sniper was published that its description of his medal count was wrong, according to one current Navy officer who asked not to be identified because he was not authorized to speak about the case. As Kyle's American Sniper manuscript was distributed among SEALs, one of his former commanders, who was still on active duty, advised Kyle that his claim of having 2 silver stars was false, and that he should correct it before the book was published. And I find this all very stunning. I'm not trying to besmirch.
So how many does he have?
1.
Okay. Gotcha.
And he said he had 2. And
1, 2, you can lose count.
This is a big deal.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-9372. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-945-9372. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-945-9372. That's 1-800-945-9372.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that's on your mind. Just dial in toll-free to join us here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Adam Kokesh, we're talking about Chris Kyle. He's a former military guy, ended up getting killed apparently by another person who was also in the military. They made a movie about him, but Adam Kokesh hasn't had a movie made about him yet, and he probably should because he's got an interesting story. He's a former military guy who actually turned into a libertarian and a voluntarist, somebody who loves the ideas of liberty. He wrote a book called Freedom, and he says it'll empower you to be more happy, free, and prosperous while putting you in a position to help shape our destiny. Governments frighten us into thinking we need them, but we're moving past the status paradigm and rendering them obsolete. Governments rely on force, and force is a poor substitute for persuasion. When you learn don't hit, don't steal, and don't kill, it wasn't unless you work for the government. All human interaction should be free of force and coercion, and we should be free to exercise our rights limited only by respect for the rights of others. So The Wisdom Within Freedom by Adam Kokesh is available to you for free by going to his website, thefreedomline.com/freedom, where you can get it online for free. Or if you'd like, you can buy it in Dead Tree format on Amazon. It's Freedom by Adam Kokesh. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here. We'll continue with Chris Kyle in moments. But first, Bill is in Mississippi listening to WPBQ in Jackson. Hey, Bill.
Hi, guys.
Hey there.
Just a little point on the Fed and the spending. Everybody wonders why they operate that way. Well, of course, there are several factors. You got to remember the $100 hammer scenario that's been kicked around for several decades.
Yeah.
And they end up spending as much as 10 times what the actual cost of something would be if they just actually order it.
Yeah, you can't find a static number that the government tends to overspend, but they tend to overspend. And they tend to overspend, in some cases, by a little. Like I've seen local government projects go over by 50% or something like that. I've seen them go over by 20%. So you could say, cost 1.2 or 1.3 or 5 or whatever when you're talking about a local event. But when you're talking national, we've seen them spend hundreds of times more than they need to on something. Then again, hospitals do something similar.
Of course. And of course, another thing that causes that is the way the feds do business is they're not going to change something unless there's some reason for them to do it, and they want something to actually cost more because that benefits a certain political constituency. And if a new system is warranted, they're not going to do it for efficiency for the general public and cost of operation. That's not the way they work. Mm-hmm. They're going to put out the bids for whatever it is. And they're going to scratch, everybody's back, and everybody's going to benefit except the public, which ends up paying 10 times at least, and maybe even more. And every agency is like that. The FAA is rumored to only have replaced old tube-type monitors and computers in the various control towers within the past 10 years or so. Prior to that, they were maintaining old 1950s monitors in their radar. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I totally believe it.
You can't play solitaire on that.
Thanks, Bill, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Daryl is on the line in Texas. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Daryl.
Yes, I was like I was telling your call screener guy. I was in the Navy for 20 years, and I will tell you, I first started like, the Navy's the most high technology stuff. I started to find out that technology wasn't as high. We thought some of the ships were really old. Like when I was at my first camp, we had a resident tender that was built in 1942, and there were times they were called for parts for it, and the guy would start looking up, and he'd call him back, start laughing. We ain't made parts for that in over 40 years.
Now, this was parts for the ship or parts for the computer system?
Parts for the ship itself, not for the computer system.
Okay.
And some of these computer systems, like these missiles and stuff, they probably didn't expect them to be still in service 40, 50 years later. They figured they probably would have been replaced with new systems. And also, sometimes retrofitting those systems it may be cheaper to keep it than it is to completely retrofit them in some cases.
Yep.
And with the Navy, most ships lasted about 30 years. So using your 30-year lifetime, you're looking at an old ship. And the newer ships, were a lot more advanced. But it was like I was on a ship that was built in 96, but it had like 80s technology where we go into the central control station for engineering plant, and that's where our power plant, propulsion plant was controlled from. And we go in, and we actually had to type on, instead of having touchscreen, you type on a keyboard and bring up our information. Now, they had the upgrades. They had touch screens and stuff like that. So the technology from one ship to another, based on when it was built, when it was upgraded, could be anywhere from 1980s to technology in the last few years.
Wow,
so
that's a big range.
When you say that a ship would last 35 years, this seems kind of odd to me because I can tell you that commercial ships will last much longer. They'll be they'll retrofit them and they'll get new technology on them and that kind of thing. But some of these hulls can be 50 or 60 years old in some cases and still doing business.
Oh yeah, well the thing about military ships though is the reason why they're designed so they say they'll last at least 30 years.
Okay.
They got over 50 years out of the USS Enterprise, the world's first nuclear aircraft carrier. But the problem was when she was decommissioned, she was barely able to make her last deployment because she was so old. The thing is, salt water is extremely corrosive.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the things we do to our ships, because we're military, so our stuff happens to be high performance, and we do stuff to our ships that you wouldn't do to a civilian ship. We would do what's called the crashback. We would go full flank speed, then we pull it back automatically to full back, and it will shake the living daylights out of that ship.
I see.
And so, we would do that because we're also testing the ship out to be able to do stuff. Because in battle or something, you may have to do that.
Right. I had a friend who just came back from, he just got out of the military, and he was in the tank division, and he said they would start their exercises with 30% of their equipment not working, and end their exercises with 60 to 70% of the equipment not working. So not only does that say that the United States isn't ready for a tank war by any stretch of the imagination, but it probably means that no other nation is either. But it also means that they broke half of their equipment while they were out there.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I know the thing is with the Navy ships, I said I can't say anything about the Air Force or the Army.
They don't have ships.
Yeah. Actually, the Army's got more ships than the Navy.
What?
But,
little boats?
They got cargo ships and stuff like that.
Huh.
What it is with the Navy, we have a thing called the Board of Inspection and Survey, and so they go and inspect the ship every 5 years or so and say, make sure it's ready for deployment. Now, a ship can fail. Now, if a ship fails in serve, the commanding officer can get in trouble. But in some cases, the commanding officer can't get in trouble because the ship is so old and decrepit. It's like the only thing separating the water from the hull is the paint because it's so rusted. Because it's so old. But in other cases, they get in trouble because it shows that they haven't been doing their preventive and corrective maintenance the way they're.
Daryl, thanks for the insight into the operations of the military and the technology behind it. Appreciate it. Quite a range between the decades of the various different ships there. 855-450 free.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us here, toll free, and bring up whatever you want. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. We've been talking old technology being in use inside government agencies at the federal government level. And it's just something to laugh about. Just something to bring home the reality that these people are not technologically advanced. They're not better off than you or I. They may have more money because they've stolen it from you and I, but ultimately the tech that they've got in a lot of cases is it's worse than probably the oldest computer you've used in the 80s or the 90s.
Don't forget that the conspiracy theory, that many conspiracy theories ride upon the notion that the government has this amazing technology
that they just keep under wraps, and they got it from the aliens, and so they're not showing it to anyone.
Whatever it might be, there's many conspiracy theories that ride upon this notion. However, now, is this story now strategic disinformation, i.e. lies, that wants us to believe that the government is using technology from the 1970s in the form of 8-inch floppy disks? Because although it certainly makes me not believe those conspiracy theories to some extent, it also makes me believe that the organization who must have put out the strategic disinformation, i.e. the lies, is a bunch of incompetent morons that I don't trust to do anything. This is their one job. The one job of the federal government is to protect you from the other nations.
No, it's not.
Well, that's their one job.
Nope. That's
as
what they
laid
claim.
out in their founding document.
There is no obligation they have to protect you from anything.
Well, I'm sorry that their organization, their government organization, absolved them from their one job, but that is their one job.
Where does it say that?
The Constitution's pretty clear, that there's funding for a Navy, that they are...
How does that mean that it's there to protect you?
It's there to protect itself.
It's there to protect itself.
And and they claim at the top, right? The preamble is, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. So the suggestion is that we are the government.
That's a suggestion, but there's no evidence for it.
There's not in practicality. There's some evidence for it, sure. The evidence of we the people is, the preamble of the Constitution is evidence in and of itself.
You didn't sign that Constitution.
Oh, I understand, but...
so it would seem to be that only the people who signed it would have been the ones referenced.
They're all dead.
Exactly. So it's a dead letter.
Well, I'm not going to disagree that it's a dead letter. Many constructionists would agree with you, originalists.
So the toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. You were also telling us, Mark, about Chris Kyle, who is alleged to have perhaps lied, misrepresented the amount of medals that he had. Apparently he had one silver medal, but he claimed to have two. Silver Star, silver medal, whatever. He claimed to have two, but only had one.
And he had 3 Bronze Stars, and claimed to have 5 Bronze Stars, but only had 3.
Only had 3, okay.
Now, this, I would say... So those medals are for real acts of heroism, and it is strange to me that he would just sort of add on 3 medals. Now, he does seem to be, or have been, a blowhard. Besides being pugnacious, bellicose, and grandiose, he appears to have been, just a big fat liar. He got sued by Jesse Ventura for some lies there, and it was successful, posthumously successful.
He sued him after death?
Well, I believe he sued him before, and then the guy died, had an untimely death, killed by a veteran that he was taking out, doing something, from what I can tell, that was kind of nice, for this guy. But he also claimed to have has sniped 30 people from the roof of the Superdome during Hurricane Katrina.
Whoa.
Does that sound accurate to you?
That sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, doesn't it? CNBC, I got the story.
Wow.
He also claims to have shot a carjacker, and then when whatever police officer, I don't know what country this was in, so it gets very difficult to check it, to have shot a carjacker and then dialed a telephone number, handed it to the police officer, and then got his phone back and then went on his way.
Okay.
Right.
Because he's so special?
Shows the level of power that he has.
Yeah.
That we don't even need to do an investigation for you shooting this carjacker. And, I don't know. Did it happen? We can't check it. But it seems unlikely that he was sniping people from the top of the Superdome. Why would he be doing that? I don't know.
Who is he sniping?
I don't know.
Looters?
Looters, I guess. Sniping looters was the notion.
Wow.
Anyway, so I guess what they're going on here in the story, I think it's worth pointing this out is that when you get heroes, well, man's always going to let you down.
Everybody's fallible. Everybody's got a problem.
You, me, and everybody listening.
Yeah, I know I've let people down.
Yeah, right. People always want something from me. I'm letting them down. Current and former Navy SEALs interviewed for this article who agreed to speak on background because they feared being shunned by their close-knit community did not dispute Kyle's heroism in combat, but saw the inflation of his medal count as significant because they consider battlefield embellishments to be dishonorable.
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing out there of what is it? Unclaimed valor? What's the
stolen valor?
Stolen valor. Yes, stolen valor. This notion that somebody who dresses up in a uniform is basically the worst kind of scum. Essentially,
I don't care about it personally.
I guess I care about it some because it shows that somebody's a liar.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
It's a lie. What kind of it seems to me that many of the soldier types get all bent out of shape on it over this particular thing.
Not just soldier types, but people who are like family members of soldiers.
Sure.
And worship the military. They get very bent out of shape.
This thing among many Army wives that they want to be saluted by the guy in the shed when they drive into the base because you're supposed to salute the rank and not the person, if that makes any sense.
And their rank is Army wife?
Well, their rank is supposedly if there's a sticker on the vehicle, right? So they got stickers, and so it's the sticker of whatever the stripes are. So they want the stripes on the vehicle saluted.
Oh, so not them individually. But
they want it for them. But the claim is they want it for the sticker on the vehicle for the guy who isn't there.
I've never heard of this, but that doesn't.
I know it's like this whole thing just keeps on going, and this is what I'm trying to address, not Chris Kyle and his embellishments or whatever, because the guy was clearly an accomplished sniper and got those medals for doing whatever he did to get those medals, the 3 and the 1, 3 and 1, not the 5 and 2. But it's this adulation that goes along with it, and people want this, they crave it, as evidenced by the Army wives, as evidenced by Chris Kyle. I mean, the fact that he has these medals and all the things that must have gone into getting those medals, he then has to add stories like shooting looters from the top of the Superdome in Katrina. And it's just this craving for this. I'm going to call it patriotism, because that's what I find it to be. I find it to go along with the admiration, because if you've got patriotism usually, when you start hunting it down, it's the adulation of not just the military, but specific members of the military, those that are particularly good at protecting us or whatever. And good at protecting us means killing, right? Now, you'd have to go a long way to claim that somebody since 1945 or whatever really have that most soldiers since 1945 have done much protecting. There might be a few handful of unsung heroes that have protected the nation, but not much since 1945. This kind of clawing worship of these people seems sad, I guess, and I'm trying to address it
that way. They've been
they have.
Americans have grown up believing that these people are heroes.
Well, in every country,
a zillion war movies that make them always out to be heroes in almost every film.
The soldiers often respect the other guy's military too. So there's this. This is every country. This isn't Americans.
There's badge bunny types who want to have sex with people who've done these things.
Love the uniform.
450 free 855-450-3733. Yeah, the uniform, the power, the influence, the prestige. This is Free Talk Live.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA-certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is down $5 at $1,222 per ounce. Silver is 11 cents higher at $16.38 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $448 US. Yesterday's big drop in metals, prompted by dollar strength against other currencies, has created a great buying opportunity. To find out more, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind. Dial in toll-free here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Stolen valor. A lot of people get really upset about the idea of someone who was either in the military lying about the things they did in the military, or someone who was never in the military lying about being in the military. And as it turns out here, Chris Kyle, who is this big hero for a lot of people, turns out he might have been lying about the things that he did while he was in the military. Mark, you said that the number of medals he actually had, according to somebody who knows these things, was less than what he had actually represented as having.
Right. He claimed to have 2 silver stars and 5 bronze stars. He had, in fact, 1 silver star and 3 bronze stars. A Herculean effort, but for some reason he felt he needed more.
Could you use up to $35,000, whether it's for home improvement, car repair, paying off taxes, debt consolidation, emergency funds, or any other reason? LoanUS.com can match you with a lender that can offer up to $35,000. Quick, convenient, and completely online. LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. You can get up to $35,000 as soon as the next day. Visit LoanUS.com now. LoanUS.com connects you with lenders, but is not a lender or broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details will vary. See LoanUS.com for more details. So, Mark, you just sort of wanted to generally talk about the idea of stolen valor and the fact that there are so many people who worship the military, basically, and they look at these people as infallible heroes. I imagine a lot of those folks are pretty crestfallen having heard the news about one of their biggest, most recent heroes.
Well, I think that the news for Chris Kyle has been coming out for some time. His tall tales have been the source of news for plenty, quite some time. It's not this isn't anything particularly new. I'm looking at a story here from CNBC that's dated 2015, February 2015, and it's these things were sort of well known.
Well, the more attention you get,
he sold 1 million books.
Yeah.
Besides winning a silver star, or earning a silver star, whatever the terminology is for that, being awarded a silver star, he sold 1 million books, which is an amazing thing. And a very popular movie is based on his life.
And the more attention you start to receive, the more attention you're going to get from people who are critical of you, the people who are going to check your claims.
Yeah, the more attention that Free Talk Live receives, you can believe that people are going to come after us.
Yeah, that's true. So was that pretty much it, or was there more that you wanted to throw out there?
I think that really comes down to, that brings the story. I mean, it goes on. The story bolsters its own.
We got the details.
Yeah, we've got the details.
All right, so if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here at 855-450 free. Maybe you know somebody who has represented themselves as having been in the military, but in point of fact was not, and you want to relay that story. You can join us here at 855-450 free.
Yeah, I wonder about the stolen valor thing. Because on one hand, I can see this person's a liar if they would go through all the trouble of representing themselves, especially if they dress up in a uniform, right? They've gotten themselves a uniform in some way, shape, or form, and they present themselves as somebody who's won a medal or whatever. Then I can see why somebody would want to point out, hey, this person's a liar. It's good information to know,
especially if it's getting them into parties or getting them relationships,
free
with
cup
people,
of coffee at McDonald's or whatever,
getting
right?
them on an airline first or whatever.
One of those perks. Things. But at the same time, I think that people can take it too far with the whole stolen valor thing. People do take it in many cases too far. For one, this adulation that goes, and two, if some kid buys some medals at a yard sale and puts them on his old dilapidated jacket, this isn't stolen valor, people. It's just somebody who's got some decorations and stuck them on a jacket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So.
Well, it depends on what you're doing with it, I guess.
Right. Are you representing yourself in that way, or have you just got some medals that somebody's selling?
So if you want to share your thoughts, you can join us here at 855-450 free. Let's go over to Greece, where the Associated the Associated Press
Freudian slip
is reporting on the latest out of Greece. We actually probably haven't talked about Greece since we had Chris Cantwell on the show. It's probably been like a year.
He did seem really interested in Greece.
Yeah, and he was doing a good job reporting on it. If you recall, there was a situation in Greece where they were basically looking at being ejected from the European Union. Yeah. And this was because they were defaulting on loans, if I'm recalling correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. They were defaulting on billions of dollars of loans. Wasn't it hundreds of billions? I don't know. It was a lot of damn money. And they weren't paying their loans off from the EU, or these member nations, if you will, within the EU. And so they basically were told by their creditors, hey, look, you're going to need to do this austerity stuff. You're going to have to start cutting services. You're going to have to start cutting blah, 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 so you can pay our loans back. And
one might see why they would want them to do that.
And the prime minister of the country, Alexis Tsipras, is it Tsipras? Yeah, Tsipras. He's actually still around. So he didn't.
I thought he'd gotten canned or left or something.
Somebody else left. It was the finance minister who ended up leaving his job. So here's the AP report from the latest in Greece. They're raising taxes, by the way. We'll tell you about that. Alex Tsipras doesn't wear a tie, but a growing number of his critics do. The left-wing prime minister won a vote in Parliament early Monday that will heap more taxes on a dwindling number of Greeks able to pay them. Whereas previous protests against austerity cuts drew violent street demonstrations featuring hooded youths throwing firebombs, this time it's suited middle classes, professionals who are revolting. Lawyers, in particular, are leading what's been dubbed the necktie movement, with a strike that has closed courtrooms since mid-January. Effectively, no one in Greece can get a divorce.
The lawyers are on strike?
That's right.
Wow. What a topsy-turvy, crazy world they live in. I've never heard such a thing.
I haven't either. No one in Greece can get a divorce, inherit property, sue for wrongful dismissal, or carry out any transaction that requires court approval. Only criminal cases nearing the statute of limitation are going to court, as an enormous backlog of cases has pushed trial dates back as far as 2032.
Sorry.
More than 200,000 trials have been postponed in Athens alone. At the city's main court complex, criminal suspects in handcuffs, police escorts, and smartly dressed lawyers gather around a canteen that sells toasted sandwiches and iced coffee, waiting hours for their new court dates. Athens lawyer Thanos Kouslos says self-employed professionals like him will feel the most pain, as new measures will increase monthly pension contributions, taxable income, and levies on services. He says
the monthly pension contributions are just the government. They're just going to take that money anyway.
An average lawyer, he says, will lose half his income and won't be able to survive. He said, speaking in an empty courtroom, every part of society has been affected by these measures, including groups once considered to be privileged. I think it's a good thing they're demonstrating, he said. Prime Minister Tsipras, age 41, was elected on a pledge to scrap austerity, but he was forced by bailout lenders to abandon his position to receive more rescue loans for Greece and a promise of better repayment terms needed for the economy to pull out of recession. So he was elected on a message of, well, we're going to forget about this austerity and we're just going to keep spending. And so the people who elected him have inevitably been disappointed by him.
I can tell you there are plenty of people on the left that truly believe the best method to get out of this sort of situation
is to spend their way out.
I mean, it's ghastly. It's just amazing. It leaves me agog. Hey, look, this isn't the United States government. Keynesian economics doesn't work with the Greeks because they don't print the money.
Right, which is why he became beholden to their creditors and ultimately had to reverse his position and take some austerity measures. Shortly before the vote, Tsipras argued that sacrifices asked of the Greeks would finally pay off. He told lawmakers, quote, "Spring may soon be over, but the real spring for our economy lies ahead of us. We have turned the page of history."
Man, he sounds like some kind of Soviet.
Under the new measures, taxes will be added to everything from beer and coffee to gasoline and monthly internet charges. Sales taxes will increase across the board, and the government created an automatic austerity mechanism to safeguard future budget targets beyond its own term in office, and bailout creditors were even given seats on a new privatization committee with expanded powers. So taxes going up all over the place. That's going to help the economy.
Well, no, it won't.
The measures pave the way for Eurozone finance ministers to approve the release of a new batch of bailout loans when they meet in Brussels on Tuesday. The creditors will then address the next vital issue for Greece, how to lighten the burden of repaying its mountain of bailout loans. And they're about to get more of them. 855-450-FREE. Throw some more coal on the fire, because it's going to keep going.
Greece is burning.
Until they burn out completely. 855-450-FREE. More about Greece. You can give us your thoughts on whatever's on your mind. Coming up in hour number 3, this is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Could you use up to $35,000? No need to shop around for loans anymore. LoanUS.com is a convenient online way to connect with a lender based on your unique background and provide you a loan of up to $35,000. And LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. Use the loan to pay for emergency expenses, medical bills, debt consolidation, home improvement, large purchases, and even taxes.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $451. Antiwar.com reports the Minsk peace accords, which were supposed to lead to a resolution of the East Ukraine civil war, have not made much progress in recent months, but Russian and Ukrainian officials on Tuesday pledged to intensify cooperation in talks brokered by Germany and France. The deal was to grant increased autonomy to the eastern oblast of Donetsk and Luhansk, and that those oblasts would end their rebellion. Little progress has been made to that end, with intermittent fighting on the frontier. Ukrainian officials have complained the Russian-backed rebels have not followed through on ending their rebellion, while the rebels know that the Ukrainian central government did not deliver the autonomy and blocked them from holding elections. German officials say that Tuesday's talk centered on the possibility of holding those elections, though beyond the general pledge to increase cooperation, it is not clear what, if anything, this means for the possibility of having those elections anytime soon. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the man who authorities say launched a racially motivated attack on a historically black South Carolina church a year ago, killing 9, faces 2 upcoming criminal trials, both of which are now seeking to put suspect Dylan S. Roof to death. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch said Tuesday that after great consideration, her Justice Department will seek the death penalty during its federal prosecution of Roof. A federal grand jury returned a 33-count indictment against Roof last year, with authorities accusing him of committing hate crimes, weapons charges, and obstructing religion. Lynch said in a statement on Tuesday, following the department's rigorous review process to thoroughly consider all relevant factual and legal issues, I have determined that the Justice Department will seek the death penalty. The nature of the alleged crime and the resulting harm compelled this decision. Prosecutors outlined their reasons for seeking capital punishment in a 7-page court filing on Tuesday, claiming that Roof, an accused white supremacist, demonstrated a lack of remorse for the shootings, specifically targeted the church to magnify the societal impact of the rampage, and used animosity towards African Americans as a central motivation for the attack. The trial is expected to begin next year. The South Carolina state government is also planning to try Roof on murder charges, and it too will seek the death penalty. 9 people were killed in the attack on the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. News of the Justice Department's decision was well received by at least some of the victims' relatives. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports lawmakers in San Francisco voted to uphold the sanctuary city policy on Tuesday, almost a year after San Francisco was flung into a national debate about immigration after an undocumented immigrant was charged in the fatal shooting of a woman. The Board of Supervisors unanimously approved legislation that upholds the city's policy on limiting law enforcement from providing assistance to federal immigration authorities aimed to apprehend or deport individuals. The Free SF Coalition, a collection of immigrants and minority activists and legal aid groups, called the ordinance an important step forward for San Francisco's immigrant communities. San Francisco is one of dozens of U.S. cities with sanctuary policies which were rooted in shielding Central and South American refugees from deportation in the 1980s. A second vote on the city's ordinance is scheduled to be held to affirm the policy next Tuesday. Mayor Ed Lee, who has previously supported the policy, will have 10 days to act on the ordinance if it passes next week. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review.
Poets across the nation issued a statement Thursday announcing that shadows, inky sharp as the raven's beak, meet the clouds like dusty charcoal on an ashen brow. Citing the ageless gloom of morning and a weary sun, its astroluminescence wrapped in arid gauze, the report noted that doubt lingers in the frail minutes of a young dawn.
For what is the sound of hope? For what is life's moment of fulfillment? The supple lie of spring prolongs the inquisition. Father! Father! Do you not sense the dread of autumn's looming song danced in trembling half-step? 1, 2, 1, 2.
The poets later added, womb, womb, womb. And in local news, a sad sack is bullied by an area goose. In other news, a photographer specializes in those pictures where lights going by really fast look like lines. An entree is apparently the kind you squeeze lime over, and employees finally get that break room bathtub they wanted.
This is the Onion News Network.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're kicking off the third hour of this edition of the show. You can take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever's on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
We're giving you an update on Greece. It's been many months since we've talked about what is going on in Greece. And the last time we talked about it, they were facing austerity measures as being mandated by their creditors. Because the Greek government wants to get more loans from the same people who they've basically defaulted on their loans from in the past, the European Union members. And in order to get those loans, they've had to sit down at the table and negotiate certain things that they'll have to do.
And their credit stinks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, I don't know what the status is as far as whether or not people can withdraw money from bank accounts. I know the last time we talked about them, there were some pretty severe restrictions. You could only go to an ATM and get $60 worth of euros.
That can't still be going on, could it?
Presumably it probably isn't, but I don't know. I haven't been following it.
I haven't heard the big story that's like, people in Greece can now withdraw from their bank accounts.
Well, just because we haven't heard the story doesn't
mean that it didn't occur.
There's probably been a bunch of stories about Greece between now and the last time we talked about it, and we just haven't seen them.
NPR was as lousy with these stories as we were at one point too. And
lousy meaning they reported on a lot of things.
There were lots of them.
Okay.
Lousy referring to like lice. Populace.
So here's some of the plans. Here's what they're planning on doing. They've got new measures that will be adding taxes to everything from beer and coffee to gasoline and monthly internet charges. Sales taxes will increase across the board.
These people don't pay taxes on their beer, their coffee, their gasoline, and their internet? Because we certainly do.
Well, it says taxes will be added, so that could mean there already are taxes, and they will be adding new taxes. These are new austerity taxes.
I was supposed to feel bad for the Greeks here in some way.
The sales taxes will increase across the board, and so on and so forth. The measures pave the way for Eurozone finance ministers to approve the release of a new batch of bailout loans when they meet in Brussels on Tuesday. Creditors will then address the next vital issue for Greece, which is how to lighten the burden of repaying its mountain of bailout loans. Greece has relied on financial aid from other Eurozone countries and the International Monetary Fund since 2010, but harsh cost-cutting reforms demanded in return sent the economy into shock, and about a quarter of the workforce still remains jobless. That has weakened its ability to repay the loans.
And let's not forget that it's they're politicians really that made this bed for the Greek people. Now I'm sure,
with the support of many of the Greek people,
just like any group of people anywhere, they're when asked, "Hey, do you want a bunch of free stuff that you're not particularly responsible for paying back? Do you want that?" The answer is generally yes. And I don't think the Greeks were without blame in that particular area. But, hey, that's I don't think they – this is the reason that democracy stinks, ladies and gentlemen. This is the reason that a representative republic is a bad idea. Why would you elect a politician, in most cases a lawyer, but anybody to handle the economy that wasn't an economist? Now, I'm not entirely sure.
I don't want anyone to tell the economy what to do because it never works out.
But it seems to me that before you extol the virtues of the government and its ability to handle the economy, you probably should try, I don't know, having economists in the governmental position.
Yeah, but they don't even agree. Economists don't agree.
They don't.
So what you don't want to do is just have people with power over others. It doesn't matter whether they're economists or lawyers or
whatever. I can tell you that I saw a debate. You weren't there for this one. This was between Paul Krugman. Are you familiar with the name?
He's a New York Times guy,
and he's a kind of the go-to liberal economist behind
Keynesian, right?
Yeah, he's the standard bearer of Keynesian economics.
He doesn't like Bitcoin.
Paul Reich, I think, is the other one that is out there. Of course, he doesn't, because it takes the power of the printing press away from the government when it comes to money. Debate Steve Moore, who's a Heritage Foundation kind of conservative guy, on economics. Now, I'm not saying I'm a conservative by any stretch of the imagination. I will say, however, when I'm comparing liberals and conservatives, that I would say conservatives appear to be more financially literate from what I can tell.
Okay.
I heard Krugman, when having the screws put to them, these economists tend to back off some of their liberal politics because they understand how economics work. When you talk to, I don't know, people like Bernie Sanders, for instance, he doesn't have any of that old economics baggage, so he just keeps on charging forward with the will of the people.
Right.
Well, the will of the people,
steal
frankly,
from the rich, give to the poor.
The people are a bunch of small group primates who don't have any business voting on anything, because the only thing they know about is the thing that they know about. Like the few pieces of facts that they have. Maybe they're really up on the Kardashians or the sports team of their choice. Maybe they can do plumbing or truck driving or radio talk show host or pig farmer. I don't know what it is they can do, but they are completely and wholly unqualified to make financial decisions. And that probably, if we're going to try this whole large nation state thing, the economic decisions should probably be made by economists and not by the people or by lawyers. That's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. So you're qualifying it, saying if you're going to have a nation state.
Well, that's what everybody seems to want.
To have that. Nope, not me. Normally sober financial daily Naftim Poriki said taxpayers had paid a heavy price for the continued bailout support, leading Monday with the headline, quote, "Painful measures, stale promises," unquote. The creditors' demands that Greece commit to years of high-budget surpluses left Cyprus's government with little choice but to hike taxes.
Yeah, what can you do? I don't know. Obviously, that is a system that will work.
Well, they could cut government, but that's not going to.
That's what they need. That's what they have to do, and they don't understand how to do it. And it's not easy. It really isn't easy.
No, especially not when you've got government unions who will sue you for cutting their jobs. Pharmacists, vets, dentists, and physical therapists all joined lawyers in street protests earlier this year as the extent of the austerity measures became clear. The Engineers Association, whose
whoa, this is going to be terrible.
The Engineers Association, whose members include Cyprus and several government officials, printed a wanted-style poster with a picture of all the engineer graduates in Parliament who supported the austerity measures under a banner that read, quote, "so that we remember them," unquote.
And they've got engineers in their Parliament. How many of those are in the United States House of Representatives?
Ironically, the lawyers' strike has added pressure on the government to seek a quick way to raise revenue, as tax cases challenged in court have been held up. Ordinary Greeks have suffered too. Former municipal worker Christian Barbopoulos was part of
I love the Greek names. I do.
Was part of a classic action.
When I see a Greek name here in the United States, what I hear is a hardworking individual who's going to take care of their family. I realize that this is...
There's got to be some Greek bums out there.
Ethnocentrism. Yeah. I'm clear on that. But that's what I hear in the United States. However, when I hear Greece as a nation, I hear a bunch of bums. So the conclusion I have come to is...
Good ones make it out.
That the hardworking Greeks have left one of the most beautiful places on the planet in order to go make a living for themselves and their family.
Ordinary Greeks have suffered. Former municipal worker Christian Barbopoulos was part of a class action contract dispute with the city authority in Athens after being laid off in 2009. Due to repeated court delays and now the strike this year, her next court date has been moved to September of 2017. She spent 2 years out of work before finding a low-paid job as a security guard. The 49-year-old Barbopoulos said, quote, You're asked to work nights and weekends, and you have to agree. It's the same for most people.
You're asked to work nights and weekends.
It's a hard life. The savings have gone, and everything in our lives is on hold. So there's the latest from the Associated Press on the economic measures that will be in basically taxes. They're going to be increasing taxes on pretty much everything, as though that's going to make things better or fix the problems with the Greek government.
I don't want anything bad for Kristen Barpopoulos, and I don't know anything about Kristen Barpopoulos, but that one particular quote that they included just makes me lose it as far as sympathy. Oh dear, you have to work on nights and weekends.
Well, she's used to being a government worker.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it comes down to. This entitlement mentality that, I mean, this is the story. This is the portrayal of the Greek people. Obviously it's not true of every one of them that's there in Greece, but it certainly seems like there's a bunch of entitled government sucking babies over there.
855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
My name is Don Wiskin, and at 42 years old, I suffered a massive heart attack and was told I'd be on disability for the rest of my life. What did I do? I created Extendivite, a garlic and cayenne mix of 7 herbs which rebuilt my heart and gave me back my life. For over 17 years now, I have made this formula available to you so you don't have to suffer the same thing I did. Clean your blocked arteries and strengthen your heart and boost your natural immune system. I'm 60 years old now, and I still work every day. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still to come, more international headlines of interest. Of course, you can also bring up whatever's on your mind. North Korea proposing a dialogue to avoid war, but the South rejects it. We can talk about that. Also, more madness from Venezuela. And you can take control of the airwaves here. Let's go to John. He's in Nevada, calling us on Skype. Hello, John.
Hi, guys. I heard you guys talking about how military adventures around the world since World War II, at least, have not actually been protecting America from anything. And because of that, there's a thing that I call super citizen worship, where people give undue adulation to soldiers, which probably applies to Chris Kyle and many others, but you see
police
a lot
officers,
of politics.
firefighters.
Sure, police officers. Yep, absolutely.
I've used that term in the past too, and I think that I don't know if it's the hardest hitting term out there, but I think that it describes it to some significance. Is that basically there's these groups of people that you're not allowed to say are that they can do any wrong. Individuals of them obviously can, but as a group, these people are good, just, right, honest, and virtuous.
They're heroes by default.
Yeah.
Heroes by default, yes. I was disappointed to see this kind of hero worship at the last libertarian debate I watched. It was on Glenn Beck over the weekend, where they showed Austin Peterson, Gary Johnson, and McAfee having a debate. And it was very interesting that when they first discussed the military, and they were all on the same page, that the U.S. has just been chronically involved in terrible military adventures, and we need to get away from that. But then the subject of veterans came up, where it had to do with the VA. Supposedly they've been getting bad treatment from the Veterans Administration, and suddenly all three candidates became super citizen worshipers, and they were all saying, oh yeah, no, our soldiers need to be at the front of the line, like when it comes to benefits. And so it's depressing to see this even from libertarians, because frankly, maybe someone would deserve some compensation if they were actually protecting Americans from terrible dangers, but I think we all agree that they're not actually doing that. So
I agree.
What do they deserve it for?
Well, they worked for the government, and the government made a promise to them regarding payouts. And I feel like that those promises should be honored by the government. The government has assets, and those assets are numerous, huge amounts of assets. And if they wanted to pay off the debts that they have, they could certainly do that, up to and including taking care of their veterans. The problem is that what we know is that the government's going to create more veterans and more disabled veterans, and largely those veterans are going to be created over nothing or very little as far as we, the individual people, go. We are not any better off because of the invasion of Afghanistan individually. We're not any better off individually because of the invasion of Iraq, Vietnam, and a variety of these other places where men's and women's minds and bodies have been broken and destroyed. Obviously, the government and the corporations that sponsor it, they're better off. So I think that's, I guess I might be with those guys a little bit, John.
So you're a super citizen worshiper?
No, I'm not.
Well, I don't think those types of deals with the government are legitimate. For instance, if you're elected to the House of Representatives and go there for 2 years, you get a pension for the rest of your life.
I thought it was 10.
Now,
I thought you had to be in for 10 years to get the pension.
Okay, well, maybe it's 10 or whatever.
Yep.
But Is that off the table? Is that just written in stone, can never be touched because that was the deal that was made? When they knew all along that this was going to be paid in stolen money. And even with regard to, these soldiers today, even the libertarians know that the things they're saying should be provided for the veterans are going to be provided out of stolen money. They're not offering any other plan, although you just did. But
I got a plan.
But they know it's going to be paid out of stolen
money. I got the
money.
Harry Brown plan. I didn't make it up.
Sure,
Which plan is that?
That's fine. That's fine. But that's not their plan to pay off these guys. They plan to pay them out of taxes.
I think you're probably right.
So you're saying you're disappointed that of the Libertarian presidential candidates who were at this particular debate, which was, I believe, the Nevada LP debate that was hosted by Penn Jillette. Is that the one you're talking about?
That's the one, yes.
Yeah, so that you're bothered that these people are basically they're pandering to the veterans. They're pandering to the people who support the veterans because it's a politically unpopular position to be critical. Certainly be critical of the military, that's politically unpopular, but it's even more politically unpopular to be critical of the poor, abused veterans who are constantly being screwed over by the government, who promises them one thing and then reneges constantly on those promises. So you're upset that they're pandering.
That's exactly right.
Unless, of course, they're not pandering and they actually do support the veterans and they're honestly giving their true position.
They're giving the same kind of knee-jerk support you see from any other politician, and that's what disappointed me.
Well, I suspect Darrell W. Perry would give a different answer had he been given the opportunity to be on that stage. He was in attendance at the event because his supporters actually, this is, by the way, our co-host for listeners that might be tuning in for the first time tonight. DarrellWPerry.com is his website. He's running for the Libertarian Party's nomination, which should be granted to someone this weekend at the Florida convention happening in Orlando.
It should be an interesting and contentious Libertarian convention.
Yeah, I think so, too. And it's a shame he wasn't invited to that debate because he is the true Libertarian voice in that particular race, and I bet you he would have given you an answer you appreciated.
I'm pretty sure Darrell is the best presidential candidate in the history of the United States. So that's very possible.
He doesn't have a rubber boot on his head, and he doesn't promise everyone a free pony.
Yeah, I wonder if Vermin's going to show up this weekend. I think there's still a question mark as to whether or not he's actually going to be at the – because he's running as a Libertarian.
Is he?
Vermin Supreme, who did run in the Democratic primary this year, as he did 4 years ago.
Switch parties to the Libertarians?
Has now joined the Libertarians and is running and attempting to seal the Libertarian Party nomination. And I don't think he's going to get it, likely, but it sure as hell would be entertaining to have Vermin Supreme in a Libertarian Party debate, just because that man just is entertainment. He is pure.
He's very funny.
The embodiment of hilarity. So, John, was there more you wanted to comment on? Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's pretty much it. I guess if you're looking for comedy, McAfee is trying to fill the Vermin Supreme niche. So
yeah, it seems like it. John, do you have a preference beside? My preference is Darrell W. Perry, as is Ian, and from what I can tell, as is yours. Do you have a secondary hope behind?
As is me. No, not really.
Yeah.
I didn't actually mind that much when they ran Gary Johnson the first time around.
Me either.
But now that he's said that William Weld is going to be his running mate this time around,
the Libertarian Party picks that. The Libertarian Party picks who.
Well, no, Johnson gets to say who his running mate is, but the party decides who.
The party decides
the vice presidential
candidate. That has soured me on Johnson, and I don't really take McAfee very seriously, and Austin Peterson I just think is a bad person.
Is it the AK-47s or the Belizean hookers in his campaign pictures that bother you the most?
Look, they don't bother me. It's fine as a person, but I don't take them seriously.
I support those things. Thank you for the call tonight, John.
About lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Purchase a ProPure system during the Crazy May sale and get a free ProMax shower filter or water filter pitcher. Remove up to 200 contaminants with the Pro 1G 2.0 truly cleanable, reusable filter. We don't stretch our claims. We just deliver performance. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPure USA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us, the toll-free number, right here for you, 855-450-FREE. Maybe you know some super citizen worshipers, and you want to relay your story of trying to talk to them. I imagine it can be like talking to a brick wall. 855-450-3733. So you've missed the healthcare deadline and don't have any form of healthcare? Well, Liberty Health Share has the answer. Liberty Health Share offers an affordable healthcare option that allows Americans like you to enroll any time of the year. For those of you who've already enrolled but just aren't satisfied with what you've chosen, there is still hope. Liberty Health Share allows Americans to control, manage, and direct their health care, yet still be in good standing with the Affordable Care Act. Members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on individuals for not having health care insurance, thus giving you freedom from insurance. Liberty Health Share empowers their members by giving them the ability to choose any doctor or hospital across the nation. Memberships are for individuals, couples, and families, offering a variety of options to best suit an individual's medical needs. If you're a freedom-loving American looking for contract-free health care, then this is for you. For more information on how to enroll any time of the year, Call 855-585-4237 or visit libertyhealthshare.org to request a free estimate. Call them at 855-585-4237 or go to libertyhealthshare.org. As we go to the phones, to the fun. Josh is on the line, calling from, I don't know where MF is. Where's MF, Josh?
No, I'm in Butte, Montana.
Montana, MT. Oh, I couldn't read the T looked like an F. I apologize about that. So welcome, Josh.
Let me talk to you about glasses, buddy.
You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, so I just wanted to address the comment made about the military and how there's kind of a hero worship going on there. And so let's see. He was critical of the hero worship going on. When people sign up for the military, it's I think they're worthy of respect, and even being given the title hero because of what they do. And
you think? Hold on, just to clarify, you think someone should be called a hero simply because they've joined the military?
Exactly. And
that sort of destroys the word hero, though, doesn't it? I mean, a hero is someone who does something that is risky and dangerous and in extraordinary circumstances, putting themselves at risk of peril to rescue someone or something of value. Isn't that typically heroism?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in this case, they are allowing themselves the risk of being sent to action. Now, whether or not we as libertarians agree with those actions is not part of what they do to define them as heroes. I mean, it would be awesome if we were in a country that, we agreed with every decision that was made and every action that was taken, and we could point at it and say, man, 100% that is I'm behind that.
Okay, so let's parse this out. Now that you've said you're a libertarian, so I have to come at this from a different angle. I would have a whole different conversation for somebody who's just calling in and saying, our boys in green are heroes. What you're saying is that they've signed a check, and that check could cost them their lives, but they're willing to give it to the government, and people define that as heroism, so therefore we're going to call it heroism. Let me ask you this. People, okay, we'll go to the ends here. We'll take this to the absolute absurd angle just so that people can see it. Is the people who signed up for the SS signed a check, right? I mean, they told the German military, the German people, that we will fight and die for you and for the fatherland and for Lebensraum and Rumspringer and all that other stuff, all those things. Are they heroes?
So in some maybe dark, twisted definition of the word, I would say by default, anybody who offers up their life to their government has an aspect of that. Maybe not that in the strictest moral definition.
How do you draw the line between hero and buffoon? I mean, because ultimately what you just said was these people are offering up their lives to governments. And whether it's the government of the Nazi Germany or the government of the United States, which, by the way, has been responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of innocent people in just recent years, how is that heroism at all to make yourself into a pawn of politicians?
So I don't think it's a clear-cut black and white issue. I think that, let's see, it's part of the rights and responsibilities spectrum of being part of a nation. So as a citizen of America, as somebody who is born in America, and I've benefited from our history and the Constitution and everything that has built us into the nation that we are, I have benefited from that. I have these rights, but I also have the responsibility to make that into a moral nation. So we're definitely not there. And I completely agree that our military for the last 50 years has not been used in a way that you can point at it and say, okay, that's protecting America. That might be protecting American interests, but it's not that.
So like burning down villages in Vietnam, for instance, killing innocent people. That's
exactly. So
let me ask you about Muhammad Ali.
Thing, but
he's got a pretty famous case, right? Like he said, ain't no Viet Cong ever done nothing to me. The only enemy I got is the enemy here. And I'm paraphrasing here, but the way he interpreted his gift of birth here in the United States was that he was born into a place where he was a second-class citizen, and that if you sort of read the Afrocentric writing, that essentially blacks did everything to create the nation, got no credit for it, but regardless, he believed some of that stuff. Was he a hero for refusing to fight for the military, or was he a, anti-patriot, whatever the opposite of a hero is? Coward? Coward. Was Muhammad Ali a coward for refusing to fight?
So let's see, given his mentality and where he was at philosophically and so forth, he's definitely a hero. And everybody can look at that and say, okay, that's a man who stood up for what he believed
Principle.
in.
Okay.
And yeah, so with his principles, he's definitely a hero.
So you're defining a hero as a brave person. This is what your definition. You're saying somebody who's willing to give their life for what they believe in. That makes them a hero. And
definition one of a hero, according to the dictionary, is a man of distinguished courage or ability, admired for his brave deeds and noble qualities. So
exactly, and I don't think that the responsibility of determining whether or not somebody is a hero when they join the military, I think that just kind of happens by default because of the nature of the transaction.
But aren't you sort of washing out the word hero by doing that? I mean,
I don't think. I think he's fine. He's got a definition of the word hero. I've got a different question. I think is much more important. So if I send you into a perilous situation to kill for me, you are heroic for doing so, or a buffoon, as Ian had defined you previously? Can you be both? A heroic buffoon?
I think you can probably.
I think you can be. Yep. Absolutely. And so it's a matter of principles, having that moral courage to stand up for what you believe in, and I think that people joining the military kind of get that by default.
So basically, everyone in the military.
The problem doesn't lie with.
I think it does. I don't think you can wash away the responsibilities of the person who does the action simply because they were ordered by someone else to do it. You can't hold the politicians responsible on one hand and hold the military, the individual who signs up, the 18-year-old pimply-faced kid who simply wants to go to college, you can't hold him blameless on the other. That's tough. It's tough. I mean,
I agree,
to say it.
But I think that the ultimate responsibility lies with the citizenry. I think that lies with the people of a nation.
But they have no responsibility. They voted for all this bull crap for 230 years, and nobody's ever been held responsible for once.
Hang on, Josh. If you got more to say, I think it's an interesting discussion. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So basically saying everyone everywhere in the world who's ever joined the military in any country is a hero, just because they were willing to possibly die for some politicians. I think you're losing the meaning to the term there.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Could you use up to $35,000? Whether it's for home improvement, car repairs, paying off taxes, debt consolidation, emergency funds, or any other reason, LoanUS.com can match you with a lender that can offer up to $35,000. Quick, convenient, and completely online. LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. You can get up to $35,000 as soon as the next day. Visit LoanUS.com now.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders, but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
Here's Dr. Paul Meyer, Christian psychiatrist, author of 85 books, and founder of the national chain Meyer Clinics, to tell you about To Your Health liquid vitamins.
I've been taking these every day for over a decade now, and I try to encourage every one of my clients to take them every day. And there's a number of reasons. First of all, it's the best vitamins you can get. It's got dozens of vitamins, antioxidants, and nutrients in it. And then the most important reason why I do it as a psychiatrist and recommend it to my patients is because it's got brain food in it. It's got the essential amino acids. It's got tryptophan, phenylalanine, tyrosine, choline, vitamin B6, and these chemicals that are all natural from food turn into the brain chemicals that make you happy.
To Your Health is delicious. Find out more today. Call us 800-801-3459 or visit online at mytoyourhealth.com. Use the coupon code Radio15 for a 15% discount on your order. That's mytoyourhealth.com.
For years, Southwest Airlines has boasted having the most loyal customers in the industry. Now the low-cost carrier is calling on its most frequent customers to finally do something in return for the airline. The company rolled out their new Loyalty Goes Both Ways program in a new ad campaign.
You said you wanted free check bags, and we listened. Now you listen to us.
Southwest's program is part of a new trend of companies not letting their customers exploit them anymore. CEO Gary C. Kelly has gone as far as to record this radio ad, which Southwest started airing nationwide.
Hi, this is Southwest CEO Gary Kelly. If my wife calls asking about me, I need you to lie and say I was with you. Remember all those low fares I gave you.
To any Southwest customers thinking about saying they're too busy to help, Kelly has some harsh words saying, quote, "We're always there for our customers. To anyone who can't do us a solid now and then, f*** you. That's not loyalty, that's freeloading."
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you if you join us now. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Ian with you.
And Mark.
We've got Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. If you like Free Talk Live and you appreciate what we're doing here on the radio waves 7 nights a week live, then you can join the show as an amplifier. Become a Free Talk Live amplifier for just $5 a month via any major credit card through PayPal or Visa or MasterCard right there on our website. You can go to amp.freetalklive.com to learn more about the program and get signed up and learn about the perks you'll get access to, like the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, and the AMP-only Facebook group. Head over to amp.freetalklive.com and please get signed up. It makes a big difference for us when you do that, so thank you in advance. amp.freetalklive.com. We've got Josh on the line in Montana. He says that anyone who joins the military, any military, including the Nazis, was a hero. And I just
did call it twisted.
I feel like, well, that's just from his perspective. But I feel like it's sort of watering down the definition of a hero. I mean, shouldn't a hero be someone who actually performs an amazing, brave, heroic act? If somebody joins the military and they get assigned to being a dishwasher somewhere in the United States, yeah, that's not exactly a heroic thing to do.
They say every member of the Army is a soldier. And by the way, they don't do that stuff anymore. The Army can't feed itself.
What? Well, they don't do dishes?
Yeah,
No.
they contract all that out.
They contract all that out.
Oh,
But
okay.
So it let's see. I don't think that obviously soldiers of Nazi Germany necessarily performed heroic acts or anything like that. I don't think that.
I bet you they
point
did.
at Nazis and say those are heroes.
Well, of course.
But
of course they performed heroic acts. I mean, in the battles that they were in, there were likely Nazi soldiers who were saving the lives of other Nazi soldiers, and that would have been heroism in those cases.
Right. But I'm talking about in context, after the fact, knowing what we do now about, okay, they're slaughtering the Jews.
But they didn't know that.
Many cases they didn't know.
Right. So given the best information that they had at the time and their personal principles, then I would say, okay, you're going to have heroes there. But I think it's not, it's not right to diminish the sacrifice or potential sacrifice that they're making by joining the military, becoming a soldier. That kind of imparts heroism by default. Now, what they do after the fact, and in the middle of a war or some military action that they've been ordered to go to, you're going to have a different stage of heroism, if you will, where they can make those personal choices to, okay, this is morally wrong, I'm not going to commit an atrocity or so forth. But I think with the American military now, of course you don't want to get into default hero worship. Every case should be judged on its own merit.
I think that most people are totally into the default hero worship. So again, I have to I've had to take this to extremes to the point that I've even made you say that Nazis are heroes, which is pretty extreme. I got another one for you. Have you ever seen the Bourne movies with Matt Damon?
Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome, right? They're great movies. In one of them, and I think it's The Ultimatum, he's ordered to shoot a man with a hood over his head that's kind of whimpering in the corner. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And he's like, well, what'd he do? And the guy's like, what difference does it make what he did? Do you want me to lie to you and tell you some story? What difference, basically he's like, what difference? It's not your job to decide what he did. It's your job to walk over there and shoot him. You are a paid killer, basically is what he says to him. And to some extent, that's what's asked of the military. It's an analogy, a very simplified analogy, because when you're told as a gunnery sergeant or whatever to have your team fire on that particular hill on that particular point, you have no idea what's over there. When you're told to drop those bombs out of that airplane, you have no idea. When you're told to drop the bombs from the drone, you're killing kids. You know you are. You've seen the video. So I guess, do those people...
You have to trust that your higher-ups are, that it's a terrorist cell and that it's not a school.
What if you've run out of trust? Do you think that the people... there's a guy who has PTSD. He claims to have PTSD as a drone pilot. Is he a hero? Mm-hmm. Now, he never had his life on the line. He worked out in New Mexico.
And you would have to judge each case on it.
Well, Josh already said that he's a hero because he joined the military. That anyone who joins the military is a hero.
Right, and that imparts a level of heroism because they are signing up for something that it could very well end up with their lives on the line.
So is everyone who... Okay, all right. So if it's just the risk, if it's just the taking of a risk that could involve your life being extinguished, then doesn't that mean that everyone who walks out of their house in a dangerous city is a hero?
So, again, it's not a black or white. That would obviously be on the very, very, very far end of the spectrum where, okay, everybody's getting behind the wheel of a car is putting their life...
That's a really dangerous thing to do. Even better example.
So this is the Josh the participation award. Everybody's a hero.
Hey, Josh, thanks for the call. I appreciate the discussion, man. Toll-free number here tonight.
It was nice of him to give us this opportunity, because I think that he's trying to portray something
there's an American
societal
belief out there that's like this.
No, this is a worldwide belief. I don't think that's American.
Is it?
I think so, sure.
Are people in other countries as worshipful towards the members of their militaries?
Some certainly are. You don't think they have those big parades for nothing, do you?
Well, I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone in the. I would not go so far as to say that every country in the world has this.
I'd say that it's around the world, an issue of around the world. Not certainly everybody.
Like, for instance, if a military in a country, let's say an African nation or something like that, is oppressing its own people, the people in that country may not see them as
you know what's dangerous? What's dangerous is going out in a public place and saying something that would be anti-military.
In the United States, it sure is.
You could really get seriously injured.
So that would be
It'd
heroic.
be a lot more dangerous than signing up for the military.
Right, so then that's heroic if you say something that's anti-military in front of a bunch of bikers.
I think Josh would agree with that, that his definition is essentially putting yourself on the line. I think that to some extent we've shown that anybody who takes some level of risk, like, I don't know, people who go out, truck drivers who get out and drive trucks on very dangerous roads. Roads are dangerous places to deliver your stuff on a daily basis. Those people are heroes, that kind of thing.
So somebody who's a hero of mine is John Connell, and he sadly died before his time, in my opinion, earlier this year in fire at his church, the Peaceful Assembly Church in Grafton, New Hampshire. The story is up right now over at freekeen.com, and there's a surprising development. It's not that there's any news about his death. The fire marshal has yet to reveal the details on the investigation as far as where the fire started, how it started, things like that in the church. Church is still standing. The board of directors that remains there is going to be fixing the church up. And for years, they had been putting in tax exemption requests with the town of Grafton and had been denied and denied and denied for several years, at least since 2011, and if not 2010. So this has been going on for more than half a decade.
Okay.
The town had denied it. Now, we're talking about an actual church building with a steeple on it.
Right. This is a historic church in town.
A building that had previously had a tax exemption, and then when it fell into disuse, the town put it back on the tax rolls. John Connell purchased the church later on and then attempted to get the tax exemption and was denied. He ended up dying just days before the town had scheduled to steal this particular property. Now, word is the board of directors was planning on paying the tax, the $13,000 in taxes that were due on the property before the town was going to steal it. But the fact remains, the town had slated the stealing date for this church. They were going to confiscate it if the church didn't cough up the cash. Now, all of a sudden, they've come to a new deal. Now that the church has burned, now that the pastor has died in the fire, now, all of a sudden, it's okay. Now they're going to grant the tax exemption. Now, according to the Valley News, they are deciding that the Peaceful Assembly Church is a regularly recognized and constituted religious creed and sect, which is what's required to be acknowledged as a tax-exempt church in the state of New Hampshire.
They've got their martyr now. They've got their prophet.
It seems like that's what it took. Because really, would they have done it had the church simply burned on its own without the death? I don't know. But the story's there, and you can read more about it.
Well, the church is far less valuable as a piece of property to the town than it was previously. Now it has been, severe smoke damage, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. The church did have to agree to repair the building by a certain time frame. But otherwise, they got their tax exemption. So congratulations to the Peaceful Assembly Church. It's a huge victory for the Liberty churches up here in New Hampshire. And we'll see you tomorrow. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadavi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is down $5 at $1,222 per ounce. Silver is 11 cents higher at $16.38 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $448 US. Yesterday's big drop in metals, prompted by dollar strength against other currencies, has created a great buying opportunity. To find out more, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $451. Antiwar.com reports the Minsk peace accords, which were supposed to lead to a resolution of the East Ukraine civil war, have not made much progress in recent months, but Russian and Ukrainian officials on Tuesday pledged to intensify cooperation in talks brokered by Germany and France. The deal was to grant increased autonomy to the eastern oblast of Donetsk and Luhansk, and those oblasts would end their rebellion. Little progress has been made to that end, with intermittent fighting on the frontier. Ukrainian officials have complained the Russian-backed rebels have not followed through on ending their rebellion, while the rebels know that the Ukrainian central government did not deliver the autonomy and blocked them from holding elections. German officials say that Tuesday's talk centered on the possibility of holding those elections, though beyond the general pledge to increase cooperation, it is not clear what, if anything, this means for the possibility of having those elections anytime soon. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the man who authorities say launched a racially motivated attack on a historically black South Carolina church a year ago, killing 9, faces 2 upcoming criminal trials, both of which are now seeking to put suspect Dylan S. Roof to death. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch said Tuesday that after great consideration, her Justice Department will seek the death penalty during its federal prosecution of Roof. A federal grand jury returned a 33-count indictment against Roof last year, with authorities accusing him of committing hate crimes, weapons charges, and obstructing religion. Lynch said in a statement on Tuesday, following the department's rigorous review process to thoroughly consider all relevant factual and legal issues, I have determined that the Justice Department will seek the death penalty. The nature of the alleged crime and the resulting harm compelled this decision. Prosecutors outlined their reasons for seeking capital punishment in a 7-page court filing on Tuesday, claiming that Roof, an accused white supremacist, demonstrated a lack of remorse for the shootings, specifically targeted the church to magnify the societal impact of the rampage, and used animosity towards African Americans as a central motivation for the attack. The trial